Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. My name is Chris and I started this channel because I'm a fan of craft beer, but I have a limited budget, so I wanted to demonstrate that it's possible to enjoy good quality beers without breaking the bank. And so the beers that I review on this channel usually come in around the $2 price range. Now they used to be between $1 and $2, a little more frequently, at least starting this year. The beers come in a little closer to between the $2 and $3 range, but that's such is the case with the times. Still, $3 for a good quality beer is inexpensive. So anyway, I want to get that out of the way in case, because this beer is actually slightly more expensive than some of the others I used to get. This is $2.49 for the Bell's Kalamazoo Stout Original 88 recipe. Um, I'm not exactly certain what happened to their original brewery, Bell's, but this is named after the city where it all began. Kalamazoo Stout is one of the most classic recipes. This smooth, full-bodied stout offers a blend of aromas and flavors of dark chocolate and freshly roasted coffee, balanced with significant hop presence. Um, so this has a shelf life of 6 months. This was packaged back in August. So yeah, we're doing fine. We're within range. And I didn't look at that before I left, and that's something else I got to do a better job of is looking at those enjoy by dates. Anyway, I believe that I don't know whether their brewery burned down, whether they just outgrew the brewery, whatever the case. But Bell's apparently did start in Kalamazoo, and now they're in Comstock. And never having been to Michigan, I'm afraid I'm unlearned on whether on just how close Comstock is to Kalamazoo. But anyway, another thing I wanted to note on here is that this is a stout brewed with brewer's licorice. It says right there, brewed with brewer's licorice. So there you have that. Quick notes about this beer in particular. Um, has a 6% ABV. Typically, American stouts come in between 5.0 and 7.0. Um, Now, it doesn't have IBUs listed, and if you go to Bell's website, it'll tell you that it doesn't, has this thing that says, why don't we list IBUs? Well, um, if you click that, it'll actually take you to IBUs, and they'll explain why they don't do IBUs. And believe me, guys, I'm doing my homework, I'm doing the research. Eventually, I am in fact going to have a video where I explain, or where we discuss IBUs, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it based upon the research that I've done. But Bell's statement is that IBUs really belong more on a home brewer's thing. It's done in such substantially smaller batches, but that a commercial brewery, even a small one, is prone to um, prone to not being able to judge their IBUs properly because it is such a larger batch than a home brew batch. So anyway, well, like I said, I'm still doing the research. I'll give you my thoughts on that later, but they're not the only ones who are saying that there's no point in IBUs. So typically American stouts come in between 35 to 75. It's been a while since I looked up that stat, and I was actually surprised to see such a wide range. But apparently, this does have 51 IBUs. If you click that link that says, why don't we have IBUs? I myself have reviewed 5 Bell's beers with an average of 3.95. Those of you who are unfamiliar with Bell's, Two Hearted Ale. Okay, Two Hearted Ale, that's all I got to say. Those of you in the craft beer community know exactly what I'm talking about. It's an IPA that comes from this brewer, and it's well known across social media. If you can't get Bell's in your market, you at least know the Two Hearted Ale. Um, 47 of my friends on Untappd gave this a cumulative score of 3.9. 96,000 of us have given it a cumulative score of 3.75. Beer Advocate has 4,560 rankings, giving it a cumulative score of 89, which on their scale is very good. And once again, stout. It's one of those varieties that started in England, made its way to America, and when it got to America, what did we do? We threw the hops in. We threw in more hops anyway. I'm not saying that there wasn't hops in the British stouts, but um, America's where we get hop heavy. So that's basically the distinction. That's one more time where you can see that it's a variety that started out in England and got when it made its way to America, it got more hops. And the next beer that's actually coming up is a beer from Bell's. It'll be an amber, and it too is another British variety that came to the U.S. and got extra hoppy once it arrived here. All right, going to be using my Venezia. Oh, wrong side. My Venezia bottle opener. My man Tony picked this up for me when he was in Venice. Let's crack the top off of that. Kelly, if you're watching, brother, there's another bottle cap coming your way. No pertinent information on that. All right, going to be using my porter stout glass. What makes this different than the pint glasses you get at the brewers? Well, see how it kind of dips in on the side here? See how it has a rounded bottom? See how it sort of flutes out as opposed to, well, I say, well, maybe it doesn't flute out. I can't remember, but anyway, I remember this, the sides coming in and the bottom being rounded. Boston shaker glasses are what you get at the brewers. They have that just perfectly cylindrical, conical, rather, shape. You're not supposed to drink your beers out of that. This is a porter stout glass. So anyway, gonna be pouring this. And as you can see, it is pouring very, very dark. There's not really much of a head there. That head is rather wispy. Okay. I hope I mentioned, I think I did, that I paid $2.49 for this 12-ounce bottle. So if I didn't, I'm restating that now. Or I'm stating it rather than restating it if I didn't say it before. Okay, guys, what you're seeing on the camera is in fact the color of this beer. I can't see my hand behind it. The head is tan, and despite not being very big, not being very substantial, it does seem to be at least semi-resilient. I'm going to give this a quick beard wipe, see what I come across. Malt, actually, is what I smell mostly. I'm going to stick my schnoz directly into the glass, see what I come up with. Coffee and malt, and malt and coffee is actually what I get mostly. I am now getting that little bit of that little hint of licorice. I am getting something of a hint of licorice. So I'm sorry, I was having a slight technical difficulty. I apologize for that. Um, hmm. Well, it's nice and creamy, and I gotta say, like the last, I think the last stout I had was a stout from Nacho Daddy had it there. I think Abel Baker makes it. It's a milk stout. I have discovered that I am not a fan of milk stouts. Now, I like this, and as this is one of those where you actually, this would pair very well with a cigar, honestly. Because what I got originally was a nice toasty, roasty caramel flavor, but then as it just sort of settles and it settles on your taste buds and goes a little bit down your throat, and you get that slight alcohol burn. It comes through with well with the licorice and a little bit of a chocolate note. So it's toffee in the beginning, and then it rounds its way to a chocolate licorice flavor, and it's very creamy. The whole thing is very creamy from beginning to end. This is a good stout. I'm going to give this a 4.0. I think this deserves a 4.0. Those of you who watch the channel regularly know that it's not getting the extra 0.25 because if it was in a can, it would. Bottles don't get the extra 0.25. There are some varieties that some are arguing need to be put in a bottle. Some are saying that stout is definitely one of those that needs to be put in a bottle. I can kind of see that maybe if there was some varieties that were going to relegate to bottles, stout would be one. But so this is a really good beer. I'm going to describe that as a medium low mouthfeel. There's not a lot of spikiness to it. The alcohol burn shows up later, but what hits you initially is a very creamy toffee, and then it, like I said, it winds its way into a chocolate licorice that also has a creamy note to it. So anyway, this is a hell of a beer. I'm always very pleased with. I'm almost always pleased with, very pleased with Bell's beers, and this one is another one. So in order to stay warm, I'm going to highly recommend this beer. Well, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.